Hola, amigos y amigos. My name is Greer Griffith, and I'm a counselor in the Connection Center. I was also fortunate enough to have grown up in Lima, Peru. Like many of you, I grew up with my footing in two cultures. While that situation certainly does come with challenges, it's also ripe with benefits. For me, growing up and being part of the Peruvian culture has enriched my life and how I view the world in so many positive ways. One way is my taste in food. I definitely have a Peruvian palate when it comes to how I season my food. So today, in honor of Hispanic Heritage Month, I'm going to share an ancient Peruvian recipe with you. The name of the recipe is locro with loche. It is a squash stew. Now, I chose this recipe for two reasons. One is I'm a vegetarian, and I'm always looking for great vegetarian recipes, and this is one of them. And two, it's more than just a recipe. It's a fascinating history giving insight into just how long people have been living and cooking along the northern coast of what today is known as Peru. So let's talk about the name of the recipe, locro with loche. The word locro comes from the Quechua word rucru or rocro, which is any stew that has potatoes, ají peppers, and ingredients like cheese or squash. So Quechua was the language spoken by the Incas. And loche is a distinctive type of squash. It's a cousin to pumpkins and zucchinis. So locro with loche is originally from the mountains of the coastal region of Lambayeque in the north of Peru, where loche has evolved into a symbolic part of the region's cuisine and culture. It is traced back literally thousands of years. And how do we know that? The loche gourd or squash has been depicted in ancient Mochican pottery, a very sophisticated culture that existed in that area long before the Incas came on the scene. I'd like to show you one example of how squash was depicted in pre-Columbian pottery in what is now known as Peru. This is a water vessel, and it also doubles as a musical instrument. As you see, there's a little whistle right there. But you notice this part of the water vessel is a squash. And it tells you just how important this vegetable has been over the millennium along the coast of Peru. Now, this sound can be, the sound of this instrument can be controlled by how much water is put into the vessel. And obviously you need a skilled musician to play the vessel, which I'm not. But I just wanted to show you that, to show you how the squash was used. And you see it in countless vegetables and many, many different cultures along the coast of Peru. Now let's get to the recipe. So the ingredients for locro with loche, again, we can substitute things. We'll have to substitute things because things are difficult. Some things are just going to be hard to find here. But the first thing we need are 5 yellow ajís, deveined and blended, or 3 tablespoons of yellow ají paste, which I buy at amigofoods.com. Now the yellow chili, it's the most common pepper cultivated and consumed in Peru, but sometimes it's hard to find here. So I go for the yellow ají paste, which again, we can buy at amigofoods.com. The second thing you need is 2 tablespoons of Mirasol ají paste, which you can also buy at amigofoods.com, excuse me, and 7 cloves of chopped garlic, 3 tablespoons of vegetable oil, 3 pounds of pumpkin, which is the loche substitute, because pumpkin is going to have to be substituted for the loche that we aren't going to be able to find here. 100 grams of loche with skin, which is any kind of squash of your choice. If you want to add more squash than just the pumpkin. You need 1.5 cups of lima beans cooked. You need 3/4 cup of diced carrots, 1 large potato diced, 300 grams of queso fresco cut into even 1 centimeter by 1 centimeter pieces, 2 tablespoons of minced fresh or dried huacatai, and the substitute for huacatai is cilantro. Huacatai is grown in the Peruvian Andes, and it's a strong aromatic herb from the marigold family, and it can be purchased in a paste form. It's also known as Peruvian black mint, and that can also come from amigofoods.com. It's an ancient herb. It was used way pre-Inca. We don't even know the origins of it, but we know that it's been used for millennia. And 1 bay leaf. Now, I don't have a fancy kitchen with a video camera over my stove, so you're going to have to use your visualization skills to prepare this meal. So the instructions are you saute the yellow ají and the mirasol ají and garlic on a very low heat for about 10 minutes or until the oil separates and forms pools. Cut the pumpkin into 1 centimeter thick pieces along with the loche. Save the peels of the loche. Now mix all the vegetables and the potatoes together, leaving the cooked lima beans aside. Mix and thoroughly coat the vegetables with the ají base that you've prepared. And then add the bay leaf and the huacatay if available. Loche skins, tie them all up together, the loche skins and the bay leaf, and put them in the pot. And then cover with aluminum foil and then add a heavy top to just make sure very, very little vapor escapes. Now after 15 minutes, give it a stir and then keep cooking it between 10, 12 more minutes until the pumpkin turns to porridge and the vegetables are perfectly cooked. Now take the pot off the heat, remove the bay leaf and the stems, that little bundle you made, and take the queso fresco, the cheese, and you add that into the mixture. And you serve it over white rice. Now you can also take some of the huacatay paste that you've ordered from amigofoods.com, and you can put a little bit over that on the top. Taste it first, make sure you like it. Now, so you can imagine this is an ancient vegetable stew that has had many versions and incarnations depending on where you are and what squash or vegetables are available. So don't be afraid to experiment. Even if you never make this recipe, I hope you've enjoyed the brief history lesson of locro with loche, a most delicious squash stew, and happy Hispanic Heritage Month. Buen provecho.